go over the conditional offer. Okay. So this has the header notice of counteroffer, counter demand of debt settlement. So very simply, you're just going to pay attention to all of the red font. That's all that you need to focus on as far as the changes that needs to be made. So today's date, the agent's name and the agent's title is in reference to the child support agent working for the child support agency. Okay? So if you have a child support agent's name, you put it there. And of course, their title if you know it. If you don't know it and if you don't have an agent's name, you can leave that off. But I find that it's best when you're doing a private administrative process to have a man or woman's name on the conditional acceptance, right? On your counteroffer. But if again, don't stress if you don't have one. It's just nice if you do. It's kind of good if you do. But if you don't, that's fine too. But yes, the agent's name, doing business as the agent's title, is the agent for the child support agency. Okay. So you're gonna leave XREL, even though it says, I mean, it's in red. That was my bad. You're gonna leave that there because that's just the abbreviation for X relation, and that's a Latin term, old legal Latin term for relation of. It's kind of like how we say in reference to or regarding. So that's just the appropriate way I found. So your name, you're going to put your first name and your last name in all caps, preferably the same way that they write it. So if they have your full name, including your middle name, if they misspelled it, whatever, you're gonna put the way that they wrote it. Then you're going to put the address, the agency's address, the child support agency address, city, state, and zip code in the brackets. So over here on the right, you're going to go over the registered mail. You're going to replace those X's with the actual registered mail number. And same thing with the return receipt. Okay. If you have trouble getting these items from the post office, then what you can do is change the red X's over here and over here. Just put a line there, right? Like as a placeholder. And then when you prepare your envelope, fold up your notices, put it in the envelope, but then leave the envelope unsealed, and then you go to the post office and get the registered mail number and the return receipt number, and you literally physically write it onto your notices. Okay, that's it. It's just an easy, simple fix. All right, so again, let's keep going with the red font. The regarding. Okay. Most of the time, they are going to assign you some type of account number, case number, whatever they reference it, that's what you're going to do. So if they call it an account number, you call it an account number. If they call it a case number, you just mimic what they say when it comes to this right here, this little situation right here. Okay. And then, of course, you change the red font to, the number that they gave you, that they assigned you from the child support agency. Okay. All right. So as we scroll down, you're going to see I conditionally accept your offer, blah, 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 blah. Right. So here you're going to go again for your first name. Anything that says name, first and last, that's you. Okay. Anything that says agent's name, that's the child support agency, the agent for the child support agency. Okay. All right. So moving right along. Okay. So that's your name, right? Amount, if you know the amount. And same thing with the arrearage amount, if you know the amount. If they just put it all in one lump sum, then put the arrearages as zero. Okay. Sometimes You know, some people know both numbers and some people know one number. Use what you have. Okay? Just that simple. Okay, so agent's name, again, who's the agent? The child support agent. The child support agent. So here, the state that, you know, the case is in, and the child support services, you could leave that as is, or you can change it to the actual title. You know, you'll get all of that information from, you know, their letterhead. You know, if you have a letter or notice from them, use it. Or you can look them up on the website, online, I mean, and find their website and get the, or just leave it as child support services. That's fine. All right, let's get into the bullets. Okay, so number one, if you are a man, change this to man and remove the rest. Okay. And you know, you just go on down the list of bullet items. Anything that says first and last, you're gonna, you know, and middle, that's you. That's your name, right? And if you see the, pay attention to the case styling, because if it's in all caps, that's the way I want you to, you know, add your name in all caps, right? Same thing here, upper lowercase, that's how you're gonna put your name. Like if it was, you know, my case, I'd put Ann, capital A and N-E, right? And then you just put your middle name, last name, and then the last name again here. Same thing here for number 10. First, middle, last, you know, upper and lower case. And then if you're a man dealing with this stuff, then you just change this to man only, or, you know, just remove this part. And then, you know, what does it say? Child support agent's name. That's who you put. If you don't know, if you don't have a child support agent's name, you can put unknown agent's name. Literally, you can put that in there. Literally, you can say that. Okay. You're trying to get, all of this stuff is geared towards putting someone, holding someone responsible. You're trying to get as close to holding someone responsible as possible, as close as possible. So if you don't have a name, then just put, you know, an unknown name, you know, agent's name. You know, get creative, but that's really not a difficult thing to get creative about. Just put, you know, unknown. So, all right, you keep going. 11, agency, all right? The child support agency, you put the actual, you know, the title, their header, whatever their name is. Everybody's case is different, everybody's state is different, and they call them different things. So look on your paperwork and what do they call themselves? That's what you want to call them. That's what you want to put right here, you know. Anything that says agency, that's them. That's what you want to put, that you want to use their title. And then same thing with, as I said before, up here, you want to change first and last to your first name and your last name in all caps, all upper letter case, right? Because that's the template. What you see is exactly what you need to replace, but with your personal information. So let's see, 13, go to, and then you just put your state, right? And then where's another one? Boom, 17, same thing, the agency's name, the appropriate name from your documents, from your, all of the presentments that they sent you, it's going to have their name on some kind of, you know, company letterhead. So that's, you're going to have to get their names there, from there. All right, so we're coming down to the end here. First, middle, last, that's you. First, middle, last, that's you. Same, but do it like this with the hyphen and the colon, okay? Those things are important. All right, so your address, okay? Your address goes here, your city, your state, and your zip code. Your zip code. I just put the zip code exempt because that's what the brackets is indicating. So you just put the your zip code in there, your actual zip code in there. And that's it for the first page. Let's continue this on. in another section of the let's go over the affidavit. This affidavit covers the counter offer, the notice for counter offer, demand, and settlement. Okay? They go together because it's a verification of what you're doing. So I'm not going to read it, verbatim. I'm only going to focus on what you need to change. And that is represented with the red font here. Okay? So in bullet number one, if you're a man, just leave man and take out, you know, this right here, woman, in the backslash. Okay. And then the state that you currently reside in, change this to that state. So for me, I would change it to Maryland, right? Capital M and then the rest lowercase. Okay. And then let's go to number 3. Child support agency. You want to put the exact title from the child support agency. Okay, that's just a a space saver. What do you call? You have to get the actual name of from the letter that you receive from any presentment, right? So if they have state of Michigan child support, put that in. Is what I'm saying. Try to be as precise and accurate as possible. Okay. But if you don't know the exact name, then you can just leave that and then just change the font to black. Okay. XREL, leave that in. That's, my mistake. That should be in black. Um, and, your name in all caps. So your first name, last name. If they use your middle name too, then you use your middle name too. But in general, just your first name and your last name will do. Okay. And the and stays, even though you see that it's red here. I'm not perfect. So I make mistakes too. All right. So, same registered mail number that you use for the actual notice, the first page. You're going to use uh, the same number here. All right. All right. So, here is where there is an option for you to use the notary statement that I provided in another part of in the course, or you can just leave it as this. It's up to you. Okay. Some people want to use the notary. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. What do I recommend? I recommend if you feel comfortable being a little bit more receptive to their nature, meaning the court officials, they prefer notary, but sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. But see, it's a very personal, you know it's a very personal thing if you prefer to use a notary. um so I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you that both work. If you just want to leave it this way, that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But to add the notary statement, that would require for you to take it to a notary if you add the notary statement. Okay. But this is powerful enough if you don't want to use the notary. Okay. So this is pretty self explanatory, right? Month and the year, the name of the county, right, that you're in, your state, right here, first, middle, last name, that's you, right? Up in upper, in the appropriate, spelling, upper and lowercase, right? And if you're a man, leave, that, and then just leave the word man and then remove or woman, right? Remove that. And then same thing like we did before. First hyphen, middle, colon, last name. That's you. That's you, your name. And then this is your name in all caps. All of the red font, after you make all your changes, I would recommend leaving everything red until you complete everything, and then you go back over everything and change everything to red. I mean, Lord, and change everything to black. Okay? But you want to leave it as red while you're reviewing it, just so it can stand out when you're looking it over. Then, right before you're ready to print, yes, you want to change everything that's red to black on every document. Okay? Don't leave anything red. So that is it for the affidavit. Welcome to the surety bond review. So the surety bond, you're going to find that in section 2D, titled How to Achieve Discharge. Okay. So this surety bond effectively changes your conditional acceptance to a conditional acceptance for value. Okay. Because this is a payment. This is removing you from being held responsible as the surety for the name that they're after and making a debt claim against. Okay? All right. As far as the registered mail number, you're going to use the same registered mail number on everything that you're sending. Okay? The same number. Okay? That effectively becomes your contract number, your new contract number with them. You're creating a counter offer, and everything is tracking under that same number. So it's the same registered mail number that you use with the first notice and with the affidavit, same number. Okay. So what you're going to do is, if you don't have them at home, while you're preparing your mail, fold everything up into your envelope, all three of the files, all three of the documents, and then, put a line here as a placeholder, so that when you take it to the post office, all you have to do is ask for a registered mail sticker. And then when you get the number, you write it in onto all three of the documents. Okay. All three of the documents get the same one registered mail number. Okay. I can't emphasize that enough. All right. So let's get down into the payment. Okay. Again, I'm not going to read everything verbatim. I'm just going to focus on what you need to change that's in the red font. Okay. So child support agency is the child support agency, or whoever's making the debt claim against you. You know, they're gonna have their name, written somewhere, maybe at the top in the header, or maybe in the signature block, or you're gonna see it. You're gonna see their name. So that's what you're gonna use right there. You can replace that says child support agency with their name. Okay. I don't know why I keep putting XRL in red, because that stays. That stays the same. Okay. So that is, again, it's just an abbreviation for ex relation, which is um, a lawful Latin term for in relation of, so it's kind of like our modern time saying in reference to or regarding, and then, you put your name here. The name is going to be, as I said right here, exactly how it is written in their record. Okay. Because you want them to be able to find you, even if they misspelled it, they didn't spell it correctly, put it the way that they misspelled it. That's fine. Okay, and then you're going to get rid of all of this. By the time you get to the end of the document, you want it nice and clean, and you want to get rid of, this stuff. This was just here to help you. It's just a personal, private note to you to help you. Okay, so agency address, again, that's the child support agency address, the child support city, child support state, and their zip code in the brackets, right? The brackets, keep the brackets. So, getting into the actual document, the first paragraph, you have first, middle, and last. That's you, okay, with your name spelled appropriately with upper and lowercase, So, first name, middle name, last name. Then, let's see, what's the next red? If you've already done it up here, I would just copy this. If you already fixed it, you corrected it to the personal information, I would just copy it and just replace all of these like that. Boom, copy it. Just copy and paste, copy and paste. That way it's all done. And just find all of them that looks like this and copy and paste and replace this one, copy and replace this one. Everything that looks like this, you would just copy and paste. So I see it here. I see it here. I see it here. I see it here, here, and here. So that way, you can save yourself a couple keystrokes and just copy and paste. Okay. But if you want to type it, go ahead and type it. That's fine too. Okay. So going back to the first paragraph, um, you just want to put the account number that they assign to you, right? To this name. They have an account number or a case number. So that's what this account number is. Leave this as is like this. Okay. Because you're saying regarding a claim number, and then because you're calling it a claim number because they're making a claim against you, right? It's a claim. So you just put the case number or whatever number they gave you, whatever number that's assigned to this child support case. That's the number that goes right there. You're going to replace the words account number with the account number, right? All right, same thing here. Boom. Replace the words account number with the actual account number that they assign to you. Okay, same thing with the second paragraph. First, middle, last, that's you. That's in appropriate upper lowercase. And then we already went over this one, child support agency, XREL, your name. You're going to change all of that. And it's here again. Same thing, account number here. It's pretty much a repeat in the third paragraph, except for the sum amount. Okay, the sum amount is going to be $100,000. That is the amount that I had determined is the appropriate amount. For, did, it doesn't matter how much you owe, just put that amount on the surety bond because that's going to cover, that should more than cover how much they claim that you owe. Okay. And same thing here. 100,000, 100,000. All right. Fourth paragraph. Pretty self-explanatory by now, right? First name, middle name, last name. Your name. That's you. Child support agency, XREL, your name in all caps. And then again, this section is regarding your statement of where you signed it and self-explanatory, month, year, the county name, the state that you're in, first, middle, last. And if you're a man, then you're going to remove this portion, where it says or woman. And then you're going to do the same signature block and, replace this with your first, middle, last name in all capital letters and replace your first, middle, last name in upper lowercase. And here you're going to put your social security number. Okay. SSN, your social security number without the dashes. So you're just going to put them all together. The 9 digits, just put them all together. Okay. Again, you're going to put the month and the year, and your seal is your right thumbprint in red ink, not blood. Ink. Okay. And so again, you're going to change this part right here. Okay. There you go. So that is your surety bond. So I'll go over the notary uh, right now. Let's see. So this is the section that if you wanted to have a notary verify your identity, that you are the man or the woman who is signing, who is autographing this document, then we have a separate notary statement that you would use instead of this. Is this perfectly acceptable? Yes, of course. It's super powerful. There are many court documents and legal documents that only require that you swear that you will, you say that you sign this, the document. You don't have to have a notary on everything, but a notary does make it more recognizable and more admissible in certain cases, right? So, do I recommend a notary? Yes and no. It's a personal preference thing. Do I use notary? Sometimes. It just depends on the situation. You don't have to in this case, but you can if you want to. If you want to, believe in your heart that it's more powerful and it's more effective, then you do what's best for you. I can't make that determination for you. I'm telling you, don't get hung up on it. If it's easier for you to just not use the notary because of, your work schedule, and you can't get to the notary and all that, then don't worry about it. You're stressing over the fine points that aren't important. The most important part is that you get these documents in to the case, and effectively it's going to discharge that debt claim. Okay. So that is the end of the surety bond. Notary example is found in section 1E, how to properly certify your documents. Okay. This is a notary example that I discovered in my 10-year journey into legal research, right? You don't have to use a notary to certify who you are. Okay, because when you begin to understand that you are above the seat of the government, you will know that you are actually above the state, and that means above the notary. However, when you want to play nicey nicey with them, you will give them what they want so that you can get what you want, right? So, lots of times, having a notary will get your documents acknowledged and more readily acceptable, because they, just like we're dealing with a lot of lies and fraud from them, they too deal with a lot of lies and fraud from people, coming into the forum, into the courthouses and whatnot. So if it makes them happy to have the notary, then sometimes I concede and give them the notary. Okay, even though by law, you don't need it. But, just to be fair, I wanted to add the notary in this course as an option. So, this is the notary that you can add onto every page of your documents, right? The notice, the affidavit, and the surety bond, if you choose to use it. Okay. I can't make that determination for you because it's a very personal preference kind of a thing. And oftentimes I don't use a notary. It just depends on, how aggressive I want to be with them. Do I want to, shake things up? I don't use a notary. If I want just to, make things go smoother, faster, whatever, then I'll use a notary. So it's just kind of like a personal thing. But I know for a fact by law, you don't have to have a notary uh, certifying your identity, because that's all that's their entire role, is to just verify identity. They give no legal advice, and they are not a party to what's inside the documents. So, again, it's a personal preference. Uh, I'm not going to make a recommendation one way or the other, because it is up to you. So, for this course, this is the notary example if you want to use a notary. Okay? It's it's probably a good idea. Would I lean towards a notary for this? Yeah, you should use it if you feel like you're dealing with a lot of corrupt court and governmental officials. Then this kind of makes it more official for them to acknowledge it. So it's one of those gray area things for me. um so this is it. The only thing that you would have to change is I would reduce it down to number 6 font, just to make it uh I hate to have documents spill over to a second page and a third page. So I like to give as few number pages as possible. So um I would reduce this down to a 6 font, all of it, and then take it to a notary. Put it you're just going to put it on your document somewhere at the bottom of each document, and then you just have it notarized and you're good to go. Okay. As you see, the only two red font uh, text on here is to indicate whether you are a man or woman. So of course, change that. If you're a man, change, just change this to the word man, and you're good to go. And he, and you're good to go. Remove, the slash woman, and remove the slash she, right? And then when you're all set, right before you print, you change all the font to black font, and then you print, and you're good to go. But again, this doesn't go by itself. This is a notary example if you want to add it to your 3 documents. Okay, I hope I made that clear. We are the final checklist. This entire process is called private administrative procedure, because the documents are sent to the child support agency only as a private matter. What is equally important to mention is that this paperwork should not be sent to the court. The agency is defined as the entity that is making a demand on you for payment or any other type of performance. But in this case, it's typically payment that they're demanding from you. So you're just going to be sending back the 4 documents here. It says, here are the documents you will send to the agency, not to the court. The first document is called a conditional offer. It rebuts their claims against you. So all 4 of these is exactly what you're going to be sending. So number 1, let's go over the bullets. Number 1 is the notice. The notice of counteroffer, counter demand of debt settlement, right? So then number 2 is the affidavit for counteroffer, demand, and settlement. And then number 3 is the original presentment with the contract trust endorsement in red. The contract trust endorsement is your signature, and a combination of your signature with your registered mail number, all of those things go to, because you're creating a new contract. You're changing the terms of the contract with the surety bond. So next is the surety bond. You're going to staple that to the original presentment, because that is saying that, okay, you want to bill me. Okay, well, here's the payment. Here's the payment for this so-called bill or this debt claim that you're making against me. Okay, so this is it. It's the four documents. And wait, let me go back to original presentment, because a lot of people are getting hung up on that. What is the original presentment? Because some people's cases are, 20 years old and whatnot. So if you don't have the original bill or the original notice that was sent to you from the child support agency, then what you can do is call them and ask for a copy of it. Or you can just use the most recent document, anything that is making a demand for payment from you. It doesn't have to be the very first thing, especially if your case is very old and happened like 15 years ago. So the most recent document, if some people have login privileges, to the case, if you can go and log in, like just say you can't find anything that you received in the mail, maybe you can log in and print, a statement. Anything that is connecting your all capital name to a debt, that can act as your original presentment. Okay, so you can staple all four together, but for sure it would be appropriate for you to staple the surety bond to the presentment, whether it's the original presentment or any presentment. A presentment, again, is any debt demand, any kind of bill that is making some type of demand for payment from them to you, right? That is what's meant by the original presentment, or just let's just say presentment. Okay. So if you have any questions, I will see you in the forum. But I certainly hope that this cleared this up for you as you go through this process. Okay. Let me read this to help you to understand the process when you send out the first mail. Okay. So your first round of mail is your first round. It's just round one, right? You're letting them know that you're making a counter claim and a counter offer to settle their claim upon proof of claim that they have a valid debt claim against you. But they won't have any proof that this debt belongs to you and that you should be held responsible for it, the way that the notices is worded, right? The verbiage in it is fully in your favor and they cannot rebut it. So you're going to get discharged. But a lot of people get hung up on, oh my gosh, they're not responding. Well, that's a good thing. You want them to not respond so that they don't have a claim, but they're continuing to pursue, a claim that they have that's not valid. And now you can claim that you are being injured. So let's read this. All right. So this is section 3A, introduction. Most cases were closed within 7 days. A few took another round of letter writing, which is to say, the man or woman simply sent the paperwork a second time by simply making a copy of the first package that they sent, Then writing the header, second notice in all capitals, at the top of the first page in the package, right? This informs the agency, the child support agency, of their second chance to correct the accounting for the account. Okay, you're saying, listen, this is your second chance. I'm going to give you another chance to fix this. To err is human, so fix it. So, in the event the agency, child support agency, goes into dishonor, they are deemed to be causing harm because they are making a demand for money without any proper claim or authority to do so. The harm comes from their lack of proper response or non response to your legal notice of conditional acceptance. A proper response from the agency is a sworn statement in the form of an affidavit bearing the signature of a man or woman that is signed under penalty of perjury that rebuts your affidavit point by point. Any other response is to be considered a non response. Without a proper response, it is deemed as a non response. You need to finish what you started by pursuing the agency for their dishonor. It is the same thing that they would do to you if you were to go into dishonor with them. At this point, it's time for you to send them a bill for their violations, which is the non response. And after you send the bill in the form of administrative process, you are now allowed to sue the agency in small claims in your home state because they're causing harm to you. Okay? So let's conclude this video. Here we are at the admin process. Okay, so this is found in section 3C, titled Responding to Agency Dishonor. If your documents are dishonored, here's the administrative process with the fee schedule. So here's the step that you can take to pursue the agency on behalf of your debtor, meaning your all caps name, via administrative process. Please note that the following notices work best if they are sent by notary public because they are an official witness to your paperwork as a notary protest or a notary witness. If you do not have a notary public willing to send your paperwork, proceed with a notary public jurat section on your paperwork. Okay, so presentment one, your affidavit claim with notice and demand detailing the violations committed with your fee schedule, 10 days. Presentment two, if no response is received, send notice of fault and dishonor, opportunity to cure, 14 days. Presentment three, notice of default, 14 days. No responses? Great. Due process is complete. Presentment four, certificate of non-response, listing all of the above notices with the affidavit of default. You give them 9 days. Presentment five, letter of cure for default. That's 5 days. Okay. So I'm calling it a presentment. Don't get it confused with their presentment. This is now your presentment to them, which is your response to their dishonor of your administrative process. After you finished, you completed the administrative process. Now this is your presentment to them. This is now you're making a contract to them that you are making a claim that they dishonored you and now they owe you. Okay, and this is again done through the mail. It's still the same mailing process, administrative process, because it's all done through the mail. But the reason why I call it a presentment here is because now you are in control. You are the captain of this process because you're beginning the process of trying to get them to pay up because they've been harming you. They haven't been able to prove their case, they haven't been able to prove their claim. Now you have to present your case to them, and they have to prove or ask you to prove that your claim is valid. And of course your claim is going to be valid because you would have completed the administrative process. Okay, so this is what I found throughout my research, the amount of time, I'm sorry, the amount of days. But really and truly, you could just make all of the steps just 10 days each, just to make it easier to remember. So I did this maybe like 4 years ago, and it still stands, but I make it a practice to just keep it all simple and make it all one time frame. So um, the shortest amount of time for any mail allowed for legal notices is 3 days, but I found that 10 days is right in the middle, of the 14 days and all of that. So um, you can go along with this recommended amount of days for the time frames, or you can just stick with the 10 days for everything. And again, this is after you completed the administrative process and they dishonored you by not answering and all of that. Okay. So I just wanted to make that clear. So this is your court that you are running through the mail. So this is a mailing process. The administrative process is handled through the mail. Okay. So every step, every time you send a package to them, right, you're going to give them 10 days. The shortest amount of time by law is 3 days. But when you add the extra 7 days, it's extending a courtesy and grace that will be rewarded later on after you complete the process, because it shows that you gave them more mercy than they were willing to give to you, with all of their fraudulent activities. So you always want to stay in honor. You never want to fall into dishonor, which is what they do. And that's okay that they do that. So you just continue your process. And I just downloaded some other reference material that helps you to understand, this administrative process that is allowed, by law. Everyone interprets the law differently, and I wanted you to get a full exposure to it from other sources other than me, right? So that you can make a fully informed decision. And so I'm going to add that to this, the same page where the video is. The video is going to be located so that you can see what is happening. Full picture. You want to get the full bird's eye view of what is happening, and you are just making them prove up the claim. They're making this debt claim against you. You're making them prove it up. And then when they can't prove it, now you are afforded the opportunity to sue and to lien and to give instructions to cease and desist and all of that kind of good stuff, right? But until you complete the admin process, you know, you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing that and making any demands of your own. You just respond to anyone making a claim against you, and you do that administratively through the mail. And that is how it is done. If you have any questions, I will see you in the forum.